A sitting United States congressman posted on social media, "Muslims don't belong in American society." Another wrote, "Deport them all." A third suggested the choice between dogs and Muslims is an easy one. These are elected officials of the United States government. Welcome to the Informed Muslim. When public officials use the rhetoric of exclusion, we respond with the tools our faith has always provided: knowledge, dignity, and facts. Data from the Center for the Study of Organized Hate shows the scale of this escalation. In just 6 days following the start of the US-Iran conflict, Islamophobic posts on major social media platforms jumped from 2,000 to over 6,000 per day. This rhetoric targets a community of 3.5 million people. These are physicians in rural hospitals, soldiers in the military, engineers, and taxpayers. They are woven deeply into the civic life of the nation. The Quran provides a specific protocol for moments of hostility. Chapter 2, verse 153 states, "O you who believe, seek help through patience and prayer." In Islamic tradition, this patience, sabr, is an active strategy for resilience. Hostile political language carries a measurable cost. A 2020 study found that 31% of Muslim Americans report direct psychological harm linked to anti-Muslim content encountered online. This environment forces digital erasure. 27% of users surveyed deleted their social media accounts entirely to escape targeted harassment. Sub functions as a calculated protocol. When an opponent relies on provocation to justify your exclusion, maintaining emotional discipline and character preserves your standing. Aggressive rhetoric acts as a trap. It seeks a chaotic response that politicians can then use to validate the narrative that you are a threat. By refusing to provide that reaction, you deny them the very evidence they need to fuel further exclusion. Character becomes a defensive wall. This timeline identifies a recurring American pattern. Throughout history, political leaders have targeted specific minority groups to distract the public from complex systemic failures. In the 1800s, this exclusionary language was aimed at Irish Catholics. In the early 20th century, university quotas were weaponized against Jewish Americans. In 1942, dehumanizing public rhetoric against Japanese Americans was left unchecked, providing the political cover for the establishment of internment camps. CAIR's 2026 report identified 5 specific states, Florida, Texas, Minnesota, Illinois, and Oklahoma, where discrimination complaints have risen steadily over 3 years. Lawmakers in these regions are attempting to code second-class citizenship into local policy. The Prophet Muhammad endured 13 years of intense persecution, boycotts, and attacks in Mecca. When finally securing power, he declared general amnesty, establishing the Mecca standard, dignity over revenge. Thomas Jefferson kept a copy of the Quran in his personal library and studied Islamic law while drafting the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom. He explicitly included Muslims in his vision of American liberty. When asked who his new religious freedom laws protected, Jefferson specifically listed the Mohammedan. The authors of the First Amendment drafted it with the clear intent to include American Muslims. This infographic traces the $200 million industry of donors and think tanks that manufacture fear. They supply the scripts, train the politicians, and fund the media coverage that creates this atmosphere of hostility. A representative calling for mass deportation is reading from a script financed and refined over decades. This is a strategic effort to bypass the Constitution by targeting a specific group. Surah Fusilat provides the ultimate counter-strategy. Repel evil with what is better, and the one who was your enemy will become like a devoted friend. High character is a potent civic defense. Politicians target this community precisely as its electoral influence reaches new heights. The actual threat they perceive is the rising volume of the Muslim American ballot box. If you are watching this and feeling the weight of this political moment, acknowledge it. The hostility is real, but you are anchored in a community, and you are not alone. This blueprint outlines our practical response. Know your constitutional rights. Vote in every local and national election. Build relationships with your non-Muslim neighbors. Document every legal violation, and stay highly visible. To the elected officials using this language, you represent constituencies that rely on the very taxpayers and veterans you demonize. History meticulously records these moments, and it judges them harshly. Islam has survived colonialism, inquisitions, and global conflicts to remain the fastest-growing faith on earth. Every generation that has attempted to extinguish this light has discovered that it is protected. The Muslim American legacy is already written into the foundation of this country. We are a permanent part of its future. Political careers are temporary, and manufactured fear eventually burns out. Faith, character, and constitutional rights are anchored by a power no elected official can reach. Share this analysis so others understand the mechanics behind the headlines. Subscribe to The Informed Muslim for weekly breakdowns of faith and justice, and tell us in the comments what you believe is the most effective way to respond to hostility in your community.